Good morning, everyone. My name is Lori Bradner, and I'm with the Florida Aviation Network. We are here celebrating 42 years with Sun and Fun as we honor our United States Air Services as well as all of the military services here. We are broadcasting live from the Aerospace Center of Excellence, and it has been a fantastic morning for the Florida Aviation Network, and it just keeps getting better and better. My next guest is Steve Larmore. Steve, welcome. We appreciate you so much.
Certainly.
Steve, you are here today to talk to us about the T6 and the Mustang, and tell us a little bit about your involvement with Sun and Fun, and where can all of our Florida Aviation Network fans and everyone here in Sun and Fun, where can we go to touch and see and feel these awesome aircraft?
Well, right now they're out on the Warbird ramp.
The Warbird, okay.
We've got every Mustang we have access to.
Really? How
on
many
the
are out
Warbird
there?
ramp. Oh, geez, we've got 4 TFs and a B model. It's 5 airplanes. It's 5 Mustangs over there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you're right, you're located on the Warbird ramp. Do you have a booth out there as well?
Yeah, we've got a big bus with a little patio area, so come on down. But we're based in Kissimmee, Florida.
Okay.
We fly out of Kissimmee.
And you're with Stallion 51.
Stallion 51.
Awesome. KT was on earlier.
Yep.
So your predecessor was here. She started us off this morning.
Oh, good.
So Steve, tell me a little bit. I know that KT, she really talked about herself as the ambassador for the program, and she does the raffles. You're very much, I was doing a little bit of homework on your background. You are the flyer, you are the hands-on, you are the mechanic.
I get to do a lot of different stuff there.
Talk to me a little bit about how you got involved with the T6s with Stallion 51.
I had a lot of T6 time by the time I was associated with Stallion. But I was actually training one of Stallion's customers. He had a Mustang in his T6. I'm a T6 specialist, let's say.
You are awesome.
Got a lot of time in T6s.
Okay.
So I came on board actually as a mechanic working on their T6, and I was their backup instructor with over 4,000 hours of instructing in T6s. So eventually, eventually that worked into, we had a P-38 project that I got to work on for 2 years, trying to get it airworthy. And then they lost one of their instructors, the Mustang instructors, and here I was. They knew me, they'd flown with me, and I was available. So that's how I got to do the Mustang as well.
That is awesome. Now, let me ask you, I'm always interested, when did you start to fly? What was it?
I was in high school.
In high school?
I was one of those kids that was just into airplanes as a kid, and everybody knew where I was going.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there was no question.
From an early age.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And then where did that take you? Because we've got the Central Florida Aerospace Academy.
Yes.
That's right here.
And we're so proud of these guys.
They're awesome.
We got to fly. Can't remember his name. I didn't get to meet him.
Okay.
Just the other day, he got a Mustang flight on the way over here, and he's from the Aviation Academy.
Really?
Yeah. I wish I could tell you his name.
That's all right. We'll look for it. That's fine. But how did you? So in high school, you had an interest. How did that launch you into? You've really had a long-standing career. Obviously, more than 4,000 hours. Now, how did that high school launch you into a career in aviation?
Well, you got to get the education. I went to college as well. But once I got away from college, I went right back to the airport and started working as a line guy.
Really?
Part-time mechanic. Got my commercial rating. I already had my private pilot's rating, so I got my commercial rating. I flew commercially in gliders and tow planes and banner planes for years.
Amazing.
I've done a lot of commercial glider flying.
Okay.
And then T6 flying, biplane flying, and Wacos and Stearmans and those kind of things.
Right.
And I stayed with that. I never went corporate. I never went airline.
Really?
It just didn't work out. So I stayed with that. And I've got 15,000 hours, and I've never turned on an autopilot. I know how to, but I've never used one. So that's a little rare.
That is rare.
And I stayed with it. But finally, it got me into a Mustang. It just eventually. Right place at the right time.
That's amazing. Now let me ask you, you said something that triggered, I'm interested. What is it that you said by the time you got to the T6s, you stayed with them? What was it about them? that? What is it?
I consider myself a purist. I like flying airplanes. I don't
Okay.
like managing systems. I want to be hands-on flying the
The
airplane.
stick and rudder.
Light planes.
Yeah.
I don't have a multi-engine rating.
Really?
So that's kind of my forte. That's where I come from. I teach people how to fly light planes. The Mustang at 8,500 pounds is the biggest airplane I fly. And
Wow.
it flies like a light plane. So,
Wow.
I just stuck with it. A lot of guys who do business aviation and
Right.
airline aviation keep their hand in with light planes. They'll have their own small plane. They'll have their own aerobatic airplane.
Okay.
Just for that reason. You know,
Okay.
they still have the interest. You know?
That is amazing.
Oh yeah.
That is amazing. Now let me ask you a question. So, with your flying, with your glider and your flying, one of the things when you're training, can you talk to us, because we're reaching out for Sun and Fun. We're ages 1 to 101. Obviously, with the Central Florida Aerospace Academy, we're catering to the next generation of pilots. We're growing that generation.
Yep.
What I'm interested in is, can you talk to us, and we've got an expert here, and I want all of the students out there listening to this, talk to us a little bit about the training, because at Florida Aviation Network, we're all about training and safety.
And safety.
Talk to us about the training that you put students through, the training that you went through to fly the Texans the way that you do.
Well, a couple of the biggest effects on my career were learning to fly gliders,
Okay.
basic flying skills,
Right.
and that's what I teach, basic flying skills, plus
Okay.
aerobatics and
Okay.
tail dragger training.
Okay.
The glider training is excellent for that.
Okay.
I promote that a lot, but it's very hard to find a place to fly gliders.
What makes that so special?
It's basic, it's hands-on, there's no engine, you know, it's all about you flying the airplane. And
Right.
you've got to keep it coordinated, you've got to use your feet as
Okay.
well as your hands.
Right.
The gliders typically need a lot of rudder.
Okay.
Steerman biplanes need a lot of rudder. Older tail draggers need a lot of rudder.
Right.
Modern pilots don't get to experience that. They don't use their feet. I get them all the time back into a T6, for example,
Right.
and I have to teach them how to use their feet again because they've been flying airliners or corporate jets or something. Their feet aren't working. They're just not working. So I tease them a lot about that.
Right, I bet. I
Yeah.
bet. Now, tell us where that training starts. So, if you take someone that doesn't have any experience, I'm interested. I've had the joy of flying in a T6,
Yep.
and it is absolutely. I don't know. It's as close to heaven as you can possibly get.
It's
I
a
think.
great airplane.
It is
really
fabulous. Where do you start them? Tell me.
In the Texan,
Yes.
specifically, the Texan is not that good a tail dragger trainer.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to land. It can be difficult, especially in a crosswind. It's a tough tail dragger. I call it a 5,000-pound tail dragger with a mean streak
Okay.
because it'll bite you.
It's got an attitude.
It's got attitude. But in the air, it's just a sweetheart. It's a nice flying airplane.
Awesome.
It will just, you have less rudder effectiveness in the three-point attitude when you do land the airplane.
Okay.
And you got to know that. So I recommend people fly other tail draggers before they get to the Texan. You want to
Okay.
develop your coordination and your tail dragger skills before you come try to fly a 5,500-pound tail dragger.
Right.
The Texan was such a good military trainer because if they could get these students through the Texan, they were good to fly anything that the Air Force had back in the 40s. And they didn't get a two-seat Mustang or a two-seat Corsair.
Right.
They went right into a 2,000 horsepower airplane. The Texan had to prepare them for that.
Wow.
And it's probably, in my opinion, the best military trainer ever built. They used them right up until 1994. They used them all over the world. A lot of different countries used them.
I was going to ask you, for those, because we've not only got aviation enthusiasts here and great, people that love aviation, we've got people that are just history buffs. And
Oh, yeah.
I obviously have an expert
Likewise.
here, and I love it.
Likewise.
Can you, and this is off what I even mentioned we would talk about, would you be willing to share with us what you know about the history of the Texan as well as the Mustang?
Sure.
I'd love to hear that.
I
and
study this
for
stuff.
all of- See,
Yeah.
I knew it. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to make you tell. We're streaming
Okay.
live, so
Okay.
this is a quiz. This is a test, Steve.
Okay.
All right, so tell us a little bit about the history of these fabulous aircrafts.
Take yourself back to the late 1930s
Okay.
when everybody knows we're going to go to war.
Right.
They're developing fighters, 2,000, 1,500 horsepower fighters, Spitfire, Hurricane,
Right.
Mustangs, P-40s, you know. They don't have a trainer for those airplanes. These guys are in biplanes, primary trainers and basic trainers. They need an advanced trainer.
Okay.
North Americans saw this market. They might have even been approached about this.
Okay.
So they had to build a complex, high-performance, retractable gear trainer, so these guys could jump from that into a high-performance fighter.
Okay.
That's the that's the reason the T6 came to be, an advanced trainer. It taught them bombing, machine gun, dog fighting, instrument flying. It taught them all those things. They were already pilots.
Right.
They had flown Cubs and Stearmans and BT-13s and Fairchilds.
Okay.
By the time they got to the T6, they were ready for the advanced training.
Got it.
And that's the reason it was built. And it fulfilled that role till 1994. The South Africans were the last ones to use it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's just a great airplane. It just did it well.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that, you know, that really is recent history.
Oh, yeah.
1994 isn't that long
That's
ago.
not that long ago.
And that is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. With Stallion 51, are the people that are here that maybe have never seen these aircraft? They've never smelled them, touched them, seen them.
They got to come by. That's all I can say.
Can they come by
Oh,
and
yes.
get pictures and
Oh yeah,
meet
we
you
invite
and talk
people.
to you?
Oh yeah, we invite people all the time.
Okay.
All they have to do is find us on Kissimmee Airport.
Amazing.
And you know, there's a website, stallion51.com.
All
They
right.
can find us,
Okay.
and we invite people in all the time. You don't have to go flying with us. Just come by and enjoy these airplanes. It's like a museum.
I was going to say, it's the history.
It's
Enjoy
very
the
cool.
history. Now, you said that you brought several planes with you for Sun and Fun.
They didn't let me fly one over. They got them over here yesterday. I had to drive over. You
What?
believe that?
Now, how did that happen?
I just got left behind this time.
It sounds like you lost the raffle, Steve.
Well, I get to fly one back.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow.
That's awesome. Now, you're located on the Warbird ramp.
Oh yeah.
And then people can come. You said that there was a bus. If someone had questions or they are
There's
history
people
buffs,
out there.
can they
That's what
come
we do,
and
yeah.
ask questions
Yeah.
and see and touch and feel these aircraft?
Well, we don't want them to touch them.
Okay.
Most of them are polished, and you
Okay.
don't want to put fingerprints on these things.
Got
so
it. Okay.
They want to have permission to look at the airplane up
Okay.
close, but
Okay.
they're out there. They're
But they can
available
get
for everybody.
pictures.
They can take pictures and they can ask questions, and we always have somebody out there to do that.
That is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit. Are any of the aircraft, I believe, is Crazy Horse going to be flying today? What is the schedule? Are we
Lee's
gonna
doing the
actually
air
get to
show
see-
in Crazy Horse 2 this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's doing the Twilight show, is that correct?
I believe it's not set up for a night show,
Okay.
but he'll do right before night falls.
Okay.
And that's why they call it the Twilight Show. Yeah, it's impressive.
Awesome. So he'll be flying at twilight,
Mm-hmm.
and so people will actually be able to get to see.
Oh yeah.
What-
Oh yeah. Hang
what they
around for this.
do.
This is quite an airplane. The
That-
Mustang is. It was a warbird. It was
Okay.
made for war, but the way we fly it, it's more like the ultimate sport plane. It's light.
Really?
It doesn't have guns on it. It doesn't have bombs on it. We're not carrying that much fuel. So it's like a 8,500-pound sport plane that burns a lot of fuel
Okay.
and goes very fast.
Now, let me ask you a question. Obviously, you're dealing with a high-performance fighter
That's right.
trainer.
That's right.
Talk to me a little bit about safety, and especially as we talk to young pilots. Obviously, someone with as many hours as you have, never having touched the autopilot, safety is paramount to you.
That's
what would
the
you
whole
say?
idea.
What is the advice that you would give? What are some of your tips that you would give young pilots?
Safety is the priority. Get the proper training. Let's use the Mustang as an example.
Yes.
It's a high-performance fighter. It can bite you. It can bite you unexpectedly.
Okay.
What we do at Stallion is show that to people. Now, we can train a guy in 10 to 15 hours if he has tail dragger experience, and
Okay.
we like a little bit of acro experience too.
Okay.
But we can make them safe. Our priority, our goal is to make them safe in that high-performance fighter.
Okay.
There are several edges that you have to get to that we'll take you to
Okay.
so that you recognize where they are. The dangerous corners, let's say. But you have to see them to know where they are. You have to experience
You
it.
have to feel them.
You have to do it. So
Okay.
we take them there, and after that, they're safe in that airplane unless they go there on purpose.
Okay.
You know, they
Okay.
learn how to fly the airplane safely. That's our goal.
Okay.
That's what we do. And there are fewer and fewer pilots with the skill sets, what I call skill sets, to fly a Mustang like that, to fly a fighter like that.
Okay.
There are a lot of torque effects and gyroscopic effects. It's got a 450-pound propeller on 1,500 horsepower, and it's way out there. It's like a T6 with a huge gyroscope mounted on the nose. So you have to learn how to handle that. You have to learn what not to do and where not to go
Right.
to fly a Mustang safely.
So essentially, when people come to see you, Steve, you walk them to the edge,
Yeah.
walk them through, and then get them back.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
The syllabus is set up in a step-by-step manner. We get them flying basic flying skills, right? And then we keep adding on to it and adding on to it. And before they're done, they've been to the edge of the envelope. And unless you've been there, you don't know where it is. And if you haven't been trained properly, you'll get to the edge of the envelope, go over the edge, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Big trouble. So you have to see it. You have to know where it is. You have to know how to avoid it.
That's a heavy horse to rein in.
It really is. It will lose beaucoup buckets of altitude if you do something wrong. If you accelerate stall a Mustang, for example, in a T6, you accelerate stall a T6, we're talking hundreds of feet, maybe 1,000 feet to recover.
Okay.
In a Mustang, it can be thousands of feet to recover properly. The Mustang actually will do a power on spin. If you leave the power on, it will not recover from that spin. And you have to know that. So that's the kind of thing we teach them.
Wow.
Yeah, there are edges to the Mustang.
I'm interested, who taught you?
The best. Lee Louderback taught me. Lee's got more time in Mustangs than anybody else in the world.
Okay.
He's probably the best instructor I've ever had, and I've had quite a few.
Wow.
And so I got to train with Lee Louderback. It was quite a thrill.
One of my favorite quotes, I was doing a little reading about him back when he was flying for Arnold Palmer, was good is not good enough.
That's right. That's right.
And it sounds that really is the motto.
The culture that Lee Louderback has set up in our business is the culture you want to see in a training operation. Safety, everything has to be, we brief every flight, we debrief every flight. It's like the military does it. It's a syllabus-driven course. You have to complete everything on the syllabus, and it gets a little bit more difficult. It gets harder and harder. We're building blocks here to get through the syllabus. And that whole culture is the best I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, I'm tickled to death to be a part of it.
That is phenomenal. Now let me ask you, how many students do you normally see in Kissimmee? I know. So you were telling me that if anyone is interested, anyone that has, and you prefer tail dragger experience,
yeah, they can come and fly with us.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask.
Oh,
do you just have to have tail dragger?
No, we do an orientation flight. You don't have to go into the training part of this. You can come do an orientation flight in a T6 especially.
So if you just want to live history and
That's right.
see it and feel it by the seat of your pants.
That's right.
Okay.
And you would be surprised. For example, I had a girl yesterday, girl from Michigan, in the T6.
Well, now I'm a Michigan girl too.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was going to tell you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this girl, Kathleen, had never flown an airplane, but she was an air show nut. She and her husband go to air shows a lot. All right. She was nervous. She didn't know what to expect. I put her in the front seat of the T6 because of all my experience in the back seat.
Right.
And by the time I was done with her, she had done wing overs, aileron rolls, barrel rolls, and a loop. And
okay, okay. She had no flight experience
That's
at
right.
all.
The non-pilots listen better than the pilots. They're easier to train. Now, you're a teacher. You understand this. They don't know anything, so they listen to what you tell them. The pilots have a preconceived idea of what they want to do, and you have to break them from that to teach them anything.
They have bad habits.
This girl did she did really good loops.
She did.
She did a great barrel roll too.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it's a 1 hour flight that we did, and at the end of that hour, she had done all this stuff. Now, some people can't do that. You know, you have to, you don't know when you first go there how your body's going to respond to this stuff.
I was going to say, as an instructor, how did you gauge that with
well,
her?
you talk to them a lot. You tiptoe in there. You tell them you're going to be paying a lot of attention to them. and then you
Okay.
tiptoe into the maneuvers. We did slow flight stalls and then
Okay.
wing overs. Now, once you get them past the wing over, which is a pretty vertical maneuver,
Right.
but pretty easy,
Okay.
you have an idea of how they're going to do. But then you have to keep paying attention to them. You don't want them to get upset. They're not going to enjoy that flight
Right.
if they got sick.
Right.
Right. So you pay a lot of attention to them, and you keep it kind of cool. And if they need a break, you don't really know how far they're going to go.
Okay.
And this girl did the whole thing.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it
what
was
it?
cool.
What did she say? I'm just interested because, you know, once bitten.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, she's got the bug now.
yeah.
What did she say when you got her back? When her feet got back on the ground?
They just wear a big smile. You know, it was great to see her and her husband. Her husband had brought her for this. It was a surprise. She did not know when she walked in the hangar that she was going flying. And then she kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a surprise. And it was great to see the interaction between them because he knew she would appreciate this. And she was scared. She was nervous about it.
Okay.
So at the end of this, when they got back together, it was good to see that interaction because she was smiling from ear to ear, and she had a great smile. And
That's awesome.
he was tickled to death that he had gotten her to do that. You know, that's what we do. There's a lot of enthusiasm here.
That is
you know.
awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got to come out and fly with me.
May I?
Yeah,
I
we'll
would
have some
love
fun.
that. Now let me ask you, do you have, I'm just interested, do you have people from all walks of life? Obviously Kathleen, someone no experience, from Michigan, just visiting, enjoying our fabulous weather, because as you
Right.
know, it's sprinter there, because it's been snowing.
It
so
just
it's sprinter
snowed.
there. Yes, it's sprinter in Michigan.
Those
but
poor guys.
What do you get? Is there a walk of people that come in
Oh
from
yeah.
all ages?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They have to be a certain size. They have to be able to. The T6
Right.
is relatively large.
Okay.
The Mustang's a little smaller in
Small.
the cockpit, so
Okay.
you have to be tall enough to see and reach the controls and
Do
stuff
you have,
like that.
speaking of our armed forces and that we're honoring them, certainly at the 42nd Annual Sun Fund, do veterans come?
Oh yeah.
Just to,
Yeah.
Just to,
We're kind of running out of the guys who actually flew these airplanes in World War II.
sadly.
Yes. They're all 90-ish.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting old. But we see them out there anyway. And for a long time, we were flying them. And the thing that amazed me about these guys was
Yeah.
most of them flew the T6. If they were fighter pilots or bomber pilots, they went through the T6, and the bomber pilots went to multi-engine training,
Okay.
and the fighter pilots went to a fighter.
Right.
They still remember what they were taught. Now, you talk about good training. In the middle of, let's say, the early 40s,
Right.
we had a training program here that was just second to none in the United States, and we were pumping out very, very good pilots. When they first started the war, they were using the pilots that were available.
Yeah.
But then we trained a whole bunch. We built airports all over the country for this training program.
That is amazing.
These guys still remember what they learned in 1942 or
And
1943.
They are an inspiration, absolutely.
Yes.
Steve, unfortunately, I have to let you go. I want you to know.
Well, you gotta come by.
I will
We'll go
be out
flying
there.
sometime.
I would love
Yeah,
that. That
come
would be
on.
awesome.
I'll
tell
give you a
what,
tour.
It was such an honor to have you
good
here,
to meet you.
Steve. And I want everybody to come out to the Warbird ramp so that
Yep.
they can see these
Check out the
beautiful birds.
Mustangs.
Absolutely. Come and meet you. You are an absolute
We have
delight.
a B model over there that is authentic.
Awesome. I
Yeah,
will
you gotta
tell
check
to
it
go
out.
over there. This is Lori Bradner with the Florida Aviation Network. Please come see us. Come see Steve at Stallion 51 at the center of the Warbird ramp. Do not miss the 42nd Annual Sun and Fun.